The ship floated silently in the endless black sea of space, its silver body glowing under the light of distant stars. Humans lived and worked inside this massive vessel, moving through long corridors and busy decks. They were traveling on a mission far from Earth, carrying both humans and a few alien guests who had joined them for peace and trade. Among the crew was Daniel, a young human engineer. He was not famous or special, but he loved his work. He often fixed broken panels, repaired doors, and made sure the ship systems kept running smoothly. He liked quiet places more than the crowded halls, and most days he worked alone. One evening, as the lights dimmed into night cycle, Daniel was repairing a control panel near the lower decks. Sparks flew softly as he connected wires. His hands were greasy, his face tired, but he kept working with care. He did not notice at first that someone was standing behind him. When he turned, he bumped into her. She was small and delicate, her skin pale with a faint silver glow. Her eyes were deep violet. Watching him silently, she wore a dark cloak that hid most of her figure. Daniel had seen her before, but had never spoken to her. She was one of the alien passengers, quiet and distant. The moment Daniel's hand brushed against her arm, everything changed. A shock ran through his body like static. Her skin shimmered with light, glowing in patterns he had never seen before. Strange marks appeared across her hand, symbols that looked alive. They glowed bright blue, lighting up the dark corridor. Daniel froze in shock. The alien girl quickly pulled her arm back and covered it with her cloak. Her face showed fear, not anger. She whispered something in her own language, then turned and hurried away. Her steps were fast, almost as if she was running from danger. Daniel stood there, confused, his heart beat loudly in his chest. What had he just seen? He touched his own hand, but nothing was there. Still, he could not forget the glow. A few crew members nearby noticed the flash of light. They whispered to each other, looking nervous. One of them asked Daniel what happened. Daniel shook his head and said he did not know, but the image of the glowing symbols would not leave his mind. Later that night, Daniel sat in his small cabin, staring at the ceiling. The ship hummed softly around him. He tried to sleep, but could not. The memory of her eyes and the strange light haunted him. Who was she, and what secret was she hiding? The next day, rumors began spreading across the ship. Some crew members said they saw strange lights. Others whispered that one of the alien passengers had hidden powers. The officers dismissed the talk, saying people should focus on their duties. But the whispers did not stop. They grew louder each day. Daniel tried to work as usual, but he found himself distracted. Every sound made him turn his head. Every shadow made him wonder if she was nearby. He remembered the fear in her face when the light appeared. It was not the look of someone dangerous. It was the look of someone trying to hide. That evening, Daniel was walking through the dining hall when he saw her again. She sat alone at a table in the corner, eating quietly. Her cloak still covered most of her body. No one dared to sit near her. The crew gave her strange looks, whispering when she passed. She acted as if she did not hear them. Daniel felt something inside him stir. He wanted to know the truth, but he also felt sorry for her. She looked lonely, like someone carrying a heavy weight. He almost walked up to her, but his courage failed. He sat down at another table, watching her from afar. Later, as he walked back to his cabin, the lights flickered suddenly. The ship's systems glitched for a moment. Doors opened and closed by themselves. The crew panicked for a second before everything returned to normal. Daniel thought about her immediately. The glowing light, the strange symbols, and now the ship's sudden problems. Could they be connected? When he reached his cabin, he sat down and whispered to himself, "What did I touch? Who is she really?" His questions had no answers, but deep inside, he knew one thing. That single accidental touch had started something that could not be undone. Daniel lay in his bed, staring into the darkness. Outside the ship, stars drifted by like silent watchers. He felt that the ship itself was holding its breath, waiting for what would come next. And somewhere deep inside the ship, the alien girl sat alone, her glowing hand pressed against a hidden panel. Her violet eyes were filled with sadness and fear. She whispered softly to herself, words no human could understand. The ship responded with a low hum, almost as if it could hear her. The accident was small, just a single touch, but from that moment, Nothing on the ship would ever be the same. The days that followed were not peaceful. The memory of the glowing symbols refused to fade from Daniel's mind. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the strange blue light burning through the shadows of the corridor. He tried to work as usual, fixing broken circuits and repairing damaged doors. But his thoughts were not on his tasks. They were on her, the silent alien girl who carried a secret inside her very skin. The whispers began spreading faster than fire in dry grass. Crew members gathered in corners, talking in low voices. Some claimed they had seen her eyes glowing. Others said they heard strange sounds in the night. The ship was filled with rumors, and fear began to slip into the hearts of the crew. They had traveled in space long enough to know that secrets were dangerous. A single unknown could put the entire vessel at risk. At first, the officers tried to silence the talk. They told the crew that there was no evidence. They warned that fear itself could destroy discipline. But humans are curious, and humans are afraid. Once an idea is planted, it does not die easily. And the idea that one passenger could control things beyond their understanding was too powerful to ignore. Daniel noticed how people began to treat her differently. When she walked through the dining hall, silence followed her, forks paused in midair, conversations froze, and eyes stared as she passed. No one dared sit near her. She always moved quietly, her head down, her cloak wrapped tightly around her. She looked like a shadow in a world of light. But Daniel's curiosity grew stronger. He remembered the fear in her face. He remembered how she pulled away, as if he had uncovered something she never wanted revealed. He did not believe she was dangerous, at least not in the way the others feared. He felt there was more to her story, something hidden beneath her silence. One night, Daniel was repairing the engine controls when the lights above him flickered again. The hum of the ship shifted. A low vibration ran through the walls. For a moment, every console on the deck went dark. Alarms chirped faintly. Then just as quickly, everything returned to normal. The officers blamed power fluctuations, but Daniel knew the truth, the timing, the strange energy, the way the air itself seemed to change. He could not forget her glowing hand. Later that night, he left his cabin and walked the dark corridors. His steps echoed softly against the metal floor. The ship was quiet, most crew asleep, but Daniel could not rest. Something inside him pulled him forward, guiding him like a whisper in his mind. As he turned a corner near the lower decks, he froze. Ahead of him in the shadows stood the alien girl. Her cloak shimmered faintly under the dim lights. Her violet eyes glowed faintly, as if reflecting starlight. She was not alone. She stood before a sealed panel, her hand resting against it. Symbols lit up beneath her palm, glowing with the same strange blue light Daniel had seen before. Daniel's breath caught, his heart pounded. He wanted to speak, but fear held his tongue. The girl whispered words in her own language, and the panel slid open silently. Behind it was a narrow passage glowing faintly with energy. It was not part of the ship's design. Daniel knew every section of these decks, but this was hidden. The girl stepped inside, her cloak brushing against the edge of the door. Daniel hesitated only a second before moving quietly after her. The door slid closed behind him, sealing them both inside the secret chamber. The air inside was warmer, filled with a faint humming sound. Strange symbols covered the walls, glowing gently like stars. In the center stood a device unlike anything Daniel had seen. It pulsed with light, alive yet mechanical. It seemed to breathe with the rhythm of the ship. The girl knelt before it, placing both hands on its surface. The symbols on her skin responded, glowing brighter. Merging with the markings on the machine, Daniel realized with shock that she was connected to it. She was not just hiding something. She was part of it. Suddenly she turned, her glowing eyes meeting his. For a moment the chamber was silent except for the hum of the device. Then she spoke, her voice low but clear. "You should not be here." Daniel swallowed hard. "What is this? What are you doing?" Her face darkened with worry. She shook her head slowly. "This is not for humans to know." "But the ship," Daniel said, his voice shaking. "The malfunctions, the lights, the doors. This is you, isn't it? You're connected." She looked down, her hands trembling. "It was never meant to happen. When you touched me, you awakened it. Now it will not stop." Daniel felt his chest tighten. He realized he was standing in front of something far beyond human technology, something alive. He also realized the truth. The girl was not just a passenger. She was the key to something hidden deep within the ship. Before he could ask more, the hum of the device grew louder, the walls trembled, and the symbols pulsed brighter. The girl stepped closer, her eyes filled with fear. "If they find out, they will destroy me," she whispered. Daniel stared at her, torn between fear and wonder. He knew she was telling the truth. The crew would never understand. They would fear her, and they would destroy her to protect themselves. The chamber fell silent again. Only the glow of the strange machine lit their faces. Daniel realized that he had crossed a line. From this night on, nothing could ever return to normal. The ship carried secret, and now he was part of it. And in the darkness of space, as the ship sailed forward, whispers spread even deeper, not just among the crew, but through the very metal walls themselves. The vessel seemed alive, listening, waiting for what would come next. The hidden chamber became a secret Daniel could not escape. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the glowing walls and the strange living machine pulsing with light. The alien girl's words echoed in his mind. "If they find out, they will destroy me." He knew she was right. The crew would not see her as a person. They would see her as a threat. Daniel tried to return to his normal duties. He walked the corridors. He repaired broken circuits. He ate with the others, but nothing felt the same. The ship itself seemed different. The walls hummed with a low vibration, as if the vessel was breathing. Lights flickered in patterns. Doors opened half a second before he touched them. It felt like the ship was alive, and he knew why. The alien girl avoided everyone. She moved like a shadow through the halls, her head always lowered, her cloak wrapped tight around her, but Daniel noticed her eyes would sometimes flash toward him, not with anger, but with something like fear, or maybe trust. She had let him see her secret, and now they were bound together by it. Rumors grew stronger each day. Crew members whispered in the mess hall. They said strange systems were activating by themselves. Some claimed they saw the ship respond before they even gave commands. Others swore they heard voices in the hum of the engines. Fear was spreading, and fear is poison on a ship lost in the endless night of space. One evening, Daniel was ordered to check a malfunction near the restricted cargo hold. He carried his tools and walked through the quiet lower decks. When he arrived, the door was already half open. The lock had been bypassed. Inside, faint blue light spilled across the floor. Daniel stepped inside carefully. His eyes widened. The alien girl was there, standing before another panel covered in glowing symbols. Her hands pressed against it, energy flowing from her skin into the walls. The cargo hold around them pulsed with life. Machines that had been dead for years flickered with light. "Stop," Daniel whispered, his voice shaking. "If someone sees you." She turned sharply, her violet eyes glowing in the dim light. "You should not have followed me." "I didn't," he said quickly. "I was ordered here. I didn't know you would be." He stopped, looking at the glowing machines. "What are you doing?" She looked back at the symbols, her hands trembling. "I'm trying to control it, but it is stronger every day." Your touch woke it fully. Now it grows restless. It wants to expand. Daniel frowned. You mean the ship?" She nodded slowly. "Not just the ship. Something buried inside it. Something older than your people. My kind placed it here long ago, hidden where no one would find it. But now it is awake, and it will not sleep again." Daniel's breath caught. He understood the danger. This was not just technology. It was something alive, something with a will of its own. And she was the key. Before he could speak again, footsteps echoed from the corridor. Voices of crew members grew closer. The girl's eyes widened in alarm. She grabbed Daniel's arm, pulling him deeper into the chamber. They hid behind a stack of storage crates just as two officers entered. The officers examined the glowing walls, one of them frowning. "This isn't right. The systems are active without orders. It feels like the ship is running itself." The second officer looked uneasy. "Some of the crew think the alien girl is involved. Maybe she's using powers we don't understand." Daniel's chest tightened. He felt the girl's hand trembling as it gripped his sleeve. If the officers found her here, it would be over. She would be exposed. After a few minutes, the officers left, muttering about reporting the incident to the captain. The door slid shut, leaving silence behind. The girl let go of Daniel's arm. Her eyes shimmered with fear. "Do you see now?" she whispered. "They are close. Soon they will come for me. I cannot stop this much longer." Daniel stepped forward, his voice firm. "Then let me help you. If the ship is alive, if it's changing, we need to understand it before they destroy you. Tell me everything." For a moment she looked at him as if measuring his soul. Then slowly she nodded. "Tomorrow night, meet me again in the chamber. I will show you the truth, but you must promise. You cannot tell anyone." "I promise," Daniel said, though his heart pounded with fear. That night Daniel could not sleep. He lay awake listening to the hum of the ship. He thought about her words, about something ancient hidden inside their vessel. He wondered if the ship was truly becoming alive, and if so, what would it want? And somewhere deep inside, the forbidden chamber glowed brighter. The machine pulsed like a heartbeat, and the ship's walls echoed softly, almost like a whisper in the dark, waiting, watching, and listening. The next day, the ship felt heavy, like a storm waiting to break. The crew moved through the corridors with tense faces. Whispers followed every step of the alien girl. Some said she was cursed. Others claimed she could control minds. The officers kept trying to calm the crew, but their words had no weight anymore. Fear was stronger than orders. Daniel kept his distance during the day, but inside his heart was restless. He remembered her promise. "Tomorrow night, I will show you the truth." That promise carried him through every hour. He worked with shaking hands, waiting for the ship's night cycle to return. When the lights finally dimmed, Daniel left his cabin quietly. He moved through silent corridors, past sleeping quarters and empty decks. His steps echoed in the metal hallways. At last he reached the forbidden chamber. The door slid open at her touch, and the glow inside welcomed him like the light of hidden stars. She was waiting for him. Her violet eyes met his, calm but filled with sorrow. "You came," she said softly. "I was not sure if fear would keep you away." Daniel shook his head. "Fear is there, yes, but curiosity is stronger. I need to know what you're hiding." She turned to the glowing machine in the center of the room. "This is not just a machine. It is a seed of my people's creation. Long before humans traveled to stars, it can bond with metal, with circuits, with engines. It can make a vessel alive. When you touched me, you awakened the seed inside this ship." Daniel stared at the pulsating light, his chest tight. "Alive? You mean the ship itself is becoming?" "Yes," she whispered. "It is becoming something new, and I am tied to it. My blood, my energy, my very being is linked with this seed. That is why I hide. That is why I cannot let them know." Before Daniel could reply, alarms suddenly blared. Red lights flashed in the corridor outside. The door burst open, and officers stormed in, weapons drawn, their eyes locked on the alien girl. "Step away from the device." The captain's voice thundered as he entered. His sharp gaze scanned the chamber, taking in the glowing walls, the humming machine, and the girl standing before it. "I knew it. You are the cause of this chaos." The alien girl's face paled. She took a step back, her hands trembling. The machine pulsed brighter, as if reacting to her fear. Daniel stepped forward quickly. "Captain, wait, it's not what you think." But the captain's eyes narrowed. "You knew about this," he said coldly. "You've been hiding it, both of you. Do you realize the danger you've put us in? This ship is not a toy for alien experiments." One officer raised his weapon. "She's controlling the ship, sir. She could kill us all." The girl's eyes filled with panic. Her hands glowed as she tried to shield herself. A wave of energy pushed outward, knocking the officer back. Sparks flew, and the walls trembled. The crew shouted in fear, weapons aimed. Daniel threw himself in front of her. "Stop," he cried. "She's not trying to hurt us. She's scared. Can't you see?" The captain's face hardened. "Step aside. Daniel, this is no longer your decision. This girl is a threat to every life on this vessel." The machine pulsed again, louder. The entire chamber vibrated. Lights across the ship flickered, systems shutting down one by one. The alien girl gasped, clutching her chest. "I can't control it. The ship. It feels my fear. It is responding." Daniel turned to the captain, desperate. "If you push her, if you hurt her, the ship itself could collapse. We need her. She's the only one who can control it." The captain hesitated, his eyes flicking between Daniel and the trembling girl. The crew muttered nervously, some lowering their weapons slightly, but fear still filled the room like smoke. The girl looked at Daniel, her voice breaking. "They will never trust me. No matter what you say, they only see a weapon." Daniel reached out, touching her shoulder gently. "Then we'll prove them wrong, but you can't run anymore. You have to show them who you really are." Her violet eyes glowed softly, tears shining in them. For a moment, silence filled the chamber, broken only by the steady hum of the living machine. Then the captain gave a sharp order. "Take them both to the command deck. If this ship is alive, then I want answers, and if she lies, she will not leave this ship alive." Officers surrounded them, weapons ready. Daniel felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. He glanced at the alien girl. Her face was pale, but her eyes were steady. She gave him a small nod, as if saying, "We face this together." As they walked out of the chamber, the machine pulsed behind them, brighter and louder than before. The ship trembled under their feet, and Daniel realized with dread that this was only the beginning. The real confrontation had just begun. The command deck of the great vessel was never silent. Screens glowed with streams of data. Officers whispered commands, and the stars outside the wide glass windows stretched like frozen rivers of light. But on this night, the atmosphere was heavy with fear. I turned toward Daniel and the alien girl as they were escorted inside. The captain stood tall at the center, his face cold as steel. "Restrain her," he ordered, but the moment the guard tried to seize her, the ship itself reacted. Lights flickered, the floor shook, and a console exploded in sparks. The guards froze in terror, weapons shaking in their hands. "She is tied to the ship," Daniel said quickly, stepping forward. "Harming her means harming all of us." The captain glared at him. "Then explain what she has done to my vessel." The alien girl lifted her head slowly. Her violet eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. She stepped forward without fear. "I will tell you," she said softly, "because hiding has only made things worse." The room grew still. Everyone leaned closer, listening. She began to speak, her voice calm but filled with sorrow. "I'm the last of my kind. My people were once great. Long before humans built ships to touch the stars, we carried a gift. Energy that could bind with machines and make them alive. We did not build vessels. We grew them. Our ships were not only metal, they were living beings, bound to us, loyal to us." The crew exchanged uneasy looks. Their faces showed disbelief, but the glowing hum in the walls made her words impossible to ignore. "But others feared us," she continued. "They believed we were too powerful, so they hunted us one by one, until my people were gone. I was hidden, carried away by those who pitied me. And with me was hidden a seed, a fragment of what my people once were." She turned and gestured to the walls. "That seed is inside your ship, sleeping until your touch woke it." Her eyes landed on Daniel. "You awakened it." Daniel swallowed hard, his chest tightening. "And now the ship is alive?" he whispered. "Yes," she said, "alive and changing. It feels your fear, your anger, your doubt. It responds to me because I'm its last link. Without me, it would lose control, and without it, I would die. We are bound." The captain's jaw clenched. "So this vessel is no longer ours. It belongs to her." The crew erupted in nervous voices. Some shouted that she was lying, others that she was dangerous. Fear spread like fire. The alien girl lowered her head, her hands trembling. Daniel stepped in front of her, his voice firm. "No, this ship is still ours, but it is more than a machine now. Don't you see it's a gift, something no other human vessel has, something alive? We can learn from it. We can be stronger with it." The captain shook his head. "Or it destroys us. You expect me to gamble the lives of hundreds on the word of one alien girl." The ship trembled suddenly. Consoles flickered. Alarms beeped. The crew panicked as systems shut down and then roared back to life. The alien girl gasped, her hands clutching her chest. "It feels your fear," she whispered. "You are feeding it. If you see me as a threat, it will act like one. If you hurt me, it will kill us all." The captain stared at her, His face pale for the first time. He understood, but he did not like the truth. He turned back to Daniel. Then tell me this. Why should we trust her? Why should we let her live when every moment she exists puts us at risk? Daniel looked around at the frightened crew, then back at the captain. Because she saved us already, when the ship almost shut down days ago. It was her who held it together. She has been protecting us even while we feared her. She does not want to destroy us. She wants to survive. Silence filled the deck. The crew stared, unsure of what to believe. The alien girl stepped forward again, her eyes shining with quiet strength. I do not want control. I only want peace. I will not harm you. But I cannot leave this ship. My life is tied to it now. If you kill me, the ship will die with me. If you accept me, it will live, and you will have something no one else in the galaxy has, a vessel that breathes, learns, and fights beside you. The words sank into the room like heavy stones. The captain's hand tightened on his belt. His eyes burned with suspicion, but behind that suspicion was calculation. He saw the truth. This ship was valuable beyond measure. Finally, he spoke, his voice low. Then you will remain under watch. Any sign of betrayal, and you will not live another hour. Do you understand? The girl bowed her head. I understand. Daniel felt a flicker of relief, but also fear. He knew this was only a fragile truce. The captain did not trust her. The crew did not trust her. And the ship itself was growing stronger every day. If fear controlled the crew, chaos would come. That night, Daniel sat in his cabin, staring at the wall. He remembered her words, "We are bound." And he wondered what it truly meant. Was the ship just alive? Or was it becoming something else, something greater than both humans and aliens? And deep in the vessel's heart, the seed pulsed with light, like the slow beat of a living heart, waiting for the moment when its true power would be revealed. The uneasy truce did not bring peace. The ship was alive, but the crew was divided. Some whispered that the alien girl was a savior. Others believed she was a curse. And in the silence of the night cycle, fear grew louder than any alarm. Daniel watched the change with worry. He saw crew members step away from her in corridors. He saw officers give her sharp looks whenever she passed. Even though the captain had ordered her to remain alive, no one truly accepted her. To them, she was still a weapon waiting to fire. But the ship itself seemed to favor her. Systems opened for her touch. Doors slid before she even approached. Consoles glowed faintly when her hands brushed them. It was clear she had become the heart of the vessel. Then came the failure. It started as a low tremor that shook the decks, lights flickered, and alarms screamed. Engines went dark one after another. The crew rushed to their stations, shouting in panic. The captain barked orders, but the ship ignored him. It was no longer responding to commands. Daniel ran to the engineering deck. His chest pounded as he saw chaos unfold. Screens flashed red warnings. Core unstable. Systems collapse. Life support failing. The crew was terrified, hands moving desperately across panels that no longer obeyed. In the center of the storm stood the alien girl, her face pale, her eyes glowing with fear. "It feels your doubt," she cried. "Your fear is feeding it. I cannot hold it back much longer." The captain turned to her, his voice hard. "Then stop it. If you are bound to this ship, take control now. Save us." Her hands trembled. "I can, but only if I merge with it fully. If I do this, I will not be myself anymore. I will become part of the vessel forever. There will be no return." The crew froze at her words. Some shouted for her to do it. Others demanded she be stopped. "She is lying," one officer yelled. "She wants to take the ship for herself. If she merges, she will control everything." The captain's eyes narrowed. He faced the hardest decision of his command. "If you fail, we all die. If you succeed, you become the ship, and we are prisoners inside your body." He looked at Daniel. "And you've defended her from the start. What do you say now?" Daniel's throat tightened. He looked at her, seeing the fear in her violet eyes, but also the strength. "I say we let her try," he said firmly. "Without her, we are already dead. With her, we might live. She has not harmed us. She has saved us again and again. Trust her one last time." The captain hesitated. His crew shouted behind him, but none of their words mattered. The ship was shaking violently now. panels exploding, air pressure dropping. The choice had to be made. Finally, the captain gave a sharp nod. Do it, but if this is a trick, it will be the last you ever play. The alien girl closed her eyes, breathing deeply. Then it is decided. She whispered. She stepped forward to the main core, her hands glowing brighter than ever. Symbols danced across her skin like rivers of light. She pressed both palms against the core, and the entire ship screamed. Daniel shielded his eyes as a wave of blue energy swept through the decks. Every console lit up, every panel glowed. The ship shuddered like a living thing taking its first breath. The girl's voice echoed, not from her mouth, but from the walls themselves. I am here. Her body trembled as light poured through her veins. She cried out, her voice merging with the hum of the vessel. Her figure began to blur, her form dissolving into streams of energy. Daniel reached out helplessly. Wait, you'll lose yourself. She looked at him one last time, her eyes soft and filled with sorrow. I was lost long ago, she whispered. Then her body vanished into light, absorbed by the ship itself. The core glowed brilliantly, and suddenly the engines roared back to life. Lights returned, air stabilized, systems flowed like a calm river. The crew stared in stunned silence. The ship was alive, stronger than ever before. Daniel lowered his hand slowly. His chest ached. She was gone. Yet everywhere, the walls pulsed gently, and in that pulse he heard her voice, faint but clear. You are safe. The captain looked around, his stern face pale. He finally spoke, his words heavy. She has become the ship. The crew did not cheer. They only stood in silence, realizing what had just happened. Their vessel was no longer only metal and circuits. It was alive, bound to the spirit of the girl they had feared. Daniel closed his eyes. His heart broke with both grief and awe. The choice had been made, and nothing would ever be the same. Silence filled the command deck after the storm of light faded. The crew stood frozen, their eyes wide, their hands shaking. The hum of the vessel was steady again, but it was different. It no longer sounded like a machine. It sounded like a heartbeat, deep and alive. Daniel lowered his trembling hands. His eyes searched the room, hoping to see her standing there. But she was gone. Her cloak, her pale skin, her violet eyes, everything had dissolved into the ship itself. Only the glow of the walls remained, pulsing softly like veins of light under living skin. The captain gripped the rail tightly, his voice hoarse. Report. Officers rushed to their stations. Fingers danced across panels, screens filled with green signals instead of red. Engines stable. One called life support restored. Another reported all systems running at full capacity. The captain's eyes narrowed, better than before. Yes, sir, an officer replied. In his voice, the systems are faster, stronger. It's like the ship is thinking for us. Daniel stepped forward slowly, placing his hand on the nearest wall. The surface felt warm, not cold metal. A faint vibration pulsed beneath his palm, and then he heard it. Her voice, soft and familiar. Daniel. His heart jumped. He pressed closer, whispering, "You're still here." Yes, her voice echoed through the walls, not loud, but everywhere at once. I'm the ship now. I can see through every deck. I can feel every engine. Every breath of the crew is part of me. The crew gasped, fear and wonder mixing in their eyes. One officer muttered, "She's inside everything." Another whispered, "We're living inside her body now." The captain raised his voice, firm but uneasy. "What are your intentions?" There was a pause. The lights flickered gently. And then her voice returned, calm but filled with sorrow. "I only want peace. I will not harm you. I saved you because I could not let you die. The ship and I are one. If you accept me, I will protect you. If you reject me, I cannot leave." The words struck like thunder. The crew exchanged nervous glances. Some looked terrified, others amazed. The fear of the unknown weighed heavy. Daniel turned to them, his voice steady. "She gave up everything for us. She didn't take the ship. She became the ship to save us. If we cannot see that sacrifice, then we are blind. She is not our enemy. She is our guardian." His words silenced the room. For a moment, no one spoke. Then slowly, some crew members nodded. Others lowered their weapons. Their fear did not vanish, but it softened into respect. The captain stood tall, his gaze fixed on the glowing walls. "Very well," he said at last. "You are part of this vessel now. We will continue our mission, but know this. If you ever turn against us, I will do everything in my power to end you." Her voice replied, soft and steady, "I understand." From that moment on, the ship was no longer just a vessel. It moved with grace, its engines roaring like the heartbeat of a giant. Systems responded instantly. Dangers avoided themselves. Battles won before they began. The crew adapted slowly, learning to live inside a vessel that was alive. Some still feared her, but none could deny her strength. Daniel visited the core often, even though there was no body to see. He spoke to her through the walls. Sometimes she answered, sometimes she stayed silent, but he could always feel her presence. One night, as he placed his hand on the glowing surface, her voice whispered gently, "You touched me once by accident, and it changed everything. Now your touch keeps me alive." Daniel smiled faintly, his heart heavy with both loss and comfort. She was gone, yet she was with him, always. The ship sailed on through the endless sea of stars. No longer just a machine of steel and wires. It was something greater, born from human hands and alien sacrifice. A fusion of two worlds, alive with new purpose. And deep within its living heart, the girl who had once been feared as a stranger watched over them. Her secret no longer hidden, her sacrifice no longer silent. She had become their protector, their strength, and their future. The ship would never be the same again.